Hello everyone, it's Christina from Our Wood Home. Welcome back to my channel. I'm coming at you from my dining room today. I'm going to be sharing some spring cleaning tips that are from a post on my blog. So I've got my iPad here just to read over everything to make sure I don't forget. So if you follow my blog, you may have already seen this post, and if not, well then it's new information maybe. I hope that you find it helpful. And I know that the tips I'm sharing aren't necessarily revolutionary. You might have already heard these tips before, but I thought it might be worth sharing anyways. So right now it is the middle of March here in Ontario, Canada, and we had some really nice weather about a week ago, and then it got really cold again, so that was kind of unexpected, not really nice. But during those few days of nice warm weather, I was able to do a lot of housework that's usually reserved for springtime, and I will share with you some of my tips that I like to do in the spring. So let's get into these tips. First, starting with having your windows open. This may seem like a no-brainer, but I'm going to mention it anyways. If you plan to open your windows to let some nice fresh air in, make sure that you are doing this before you sweep or vacuum your floors, because likely the wind is going to blow in all sorts of dirt and stuff. And if you have just cleaned your floors, you're gonna have to do it again when you close those windows. Which is not a problem, I guess, but if you're trying to be efficient, maybe open your windows in the morning or the afternoon, and then close them in the evening and do your floors then. Second tip is to wash your curtains. I don't know about you, but we've got a fair bit of curtains in our house, and I've tried vacuuming them, like with the attachment for the vacuum, and it doesn't go well. So I think it's easier just to take them off the curtain rod completely, throw them in the wash machine, and then I prefer to line dry them, but you can totally put them in the dryer if that works best for you. Next up is to wash your clothesline or your drying rack. This might sound strange, but if you have an outdoor clothesline that's sort of that coated wire stuff, you may notice that it gets kind of dirty. I don't know if you've ever taken laundry off the line only to find some little dark spots on your clothes where it was pressed against the line. That's just all the dirt from outside, and it can definitely make your clothes even dirtier if you don't first clean it off. You definitely don't have to do this every single time you put clothes out, but maybe doing it just once a year is sufficient. All you do is just take a hot soapy rag and just run it the length of the clothesline. If you have a rope clothesline, you may be able to take it off completely and just wash the whole thing and then hang it up again. You may also be able to take off your clothesline if you've got that coated metal one that I was talking about earlier. I don't want to go through that process to take it off, so I'm just going to rub a cloth across it. Another tip is to clean your washing machine. I've written about this on my blog before, but I'll briefly share it here as well. Your wash machine can build up with soap and hair and lint and all that stuff, and it can kind of coat the inside of the drum, which means your clothes aren't getting fully cleaned. So I highly suggest you do that every few months, or at least in the spring. I'll put a link in the description of this video for my blog post detailing how I clean my wash machine. I also want to say that you should wipe the gasket if you have a front loader, and if you have a top loader, I guess just make sure it's nice and clean around the lid. Another tip is to clean inside your kitchen cupboards. Mine seem to get pretty dusty and even a little dirty sometimes, and I'm not really sure how that happens, but it's pretty easy to clean it. Just take everything out one section at a time and wipe it with a damp cloth, making sure it's fully dry before you put everything back in. As a bonus, you can also declutter your cupboards while you're doing this. I'm sure we all have things in our cupboards that we maybe forgot about or realized that we don't actually need, and now's a good time to donate them to somebody else. Alright, another tip is to vacuum or sweep inside your closets. You may not think this is worth doing, but I've noticed that a lot of cat and dog hair kind of clumps together in little tumbleweeds and finds its way into my linen closet and my coat closet. I don't know how it happens, but every so often I'll open the door and just find this big furry tumbleweed in there. So making that a habit to vacuum or sweep out the closet is good practice. But if that's something that you're just not remembering to do, then I highly suggest at least doing it once a year in the springtime. While you're at it, check your bedroom closets as well, just to see if there's any dust bunnies in there. Speaking of vacuuming, now's a good time to vacuum your couch and any upholstered furniture that you might have. If the cushions come off, I suggest doing that and making sure you vacuum all around, all the crevices, getting right in there to get out anything that may be hiding. You can also wash your covers for the cushions. I don't do that because it's really frustrating to try to take the covers off and put them back on, so I just vacuum them. And sometimes I'll air them out outside for an afternoon. I have a Ryobi hand vacuum that I really like for this because it's super powerful and it's nice and compact and light. So I will link that in the description. I use it pretty much everywhere in the house. It's awesome. And it's cordless, so you can take it out into your car as well. This isn't sponsored, I just really like that product. Another area that you'll want to vacuum is your cold air return and any floor registers or vents in your house. Use your vacuum or just a damp cloth to get any surface dust or dirt off of the grates. And if you can, I suggest popping them off and putting a vacuum hose or the hand vacuum that I mentioned down into that register and just sucking up anything that's not visible. If your vents are made of plastic, you can use a soapy cloth to clean them, but if they're metal or wood, maybe just lightly rubbing them with a slightly damp cloth or just a dry cloth. Another thing to consider is to vacuum and flip your mattress. I know it sounds weird to vacuum your mattress, but they can kind of collect dust and dirt and hair and all that stuff, which you don't really want in your mattress. So you can use either the vacuum hand attachment to get those out, or I've even put the whole vacuum, the rollers and everything on my mattress, and it's worked okay. It's just pretty cumbersome. If you're able to, I also suggest flipping your mattress. You can flip it so that the head part is now at the feet, and you can flip it over as well, if possible. I try to do it a few times a year, but at least once a year in the spring. One more thing to share, clean your vacuum filter. Now, if you're like me, you may not clean your filters as much as you should or ever. And once you do clean them, you'll notice your vacuum works a lot better. So I have a Shark vacuum for the floors, and it has 2 filters that come out and can be washed by hand or in the machine. So I try to do this often, but I usually forget, and I go a long time between washing. But if you're able to, do it now. Make sure you check the manufacturer's instructions to see if your filters can be washed in the machine, or if you're just supposed to bang them out and get the dust out that way. I hope that this video was helpful. I know it's not some revolutionary new idea, but I still think it's worth sharing because maybe there's some things here that you didn't think of doing before. If that's the case, I hope that you'll let me know in the comments, and feel free to share any spring cleaning tips that you have as well. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to give this video a like and have a look around my channel. If you see some other videos you like, I hope that you consider subscribing. Thank you so much and have a great rest of your day.